Chapter 3. The Squeak on the Wind. The sound came again, not loud, not close, but unmistakable, a soft dragon squeak, squeak, squeak. Drifted through the wind like something trying very hard not to be heard. Phil's mouth stayed open mid-sentence, the words he'd been about to speak dissolving into the cold night air. His eyes flicked toward the darkness beyond the firelight. The kind of darkness that didn't just sit there but watched back. He swallowed that. "That's just an owl or summit," he whispered, though everyone could hear the lie wobbling in his voice. "Owls don't squeak like bikes, you dafty," muttered Chloe, pulling her sleeping bag tighter around her shoulders. The fire crackled again, but this time the sparks didn't drift upward. They curled sideways as if the air itself had shifted direction. Phil forced a smile, the kind adults use when they're trying to convince kids everything's fine while their own stomach drops through their boots. "All right," he said, clapping his hands once too sharply. "Probably just the wind catching something metal, fence wire, gate hinge. Happens all the time out here." But the kids weren't looking at him anymore. They were staring at the tree line. The trees stood unnaturally still, no sway, no rustle, as if the whole forest was holding its breath. Then came the smell. Warm, sweet, impossible muffins. Fresh from the oven, the kind that shouldn't exist miles from any kitchen, out here in the middle of the woods where the only heat came from the fire. Chloe's eyes widened. "Phil, what does it smell like?" "Pack your bags," Phil snapped, standing up so fast his log toppled over. "Now everyone up." A ripple of panic moved through the group. "Why, what's happening?" Johnny asked, voice cracking. Phil didn't answer. He was staring into the dark, jaw clenched, shoulders tight. He'd heard the stories too, the real ones, the ones adults didn't tell kids because they weren't meant to be told at all. Another squeak drifted through the trees, closer this time, too close. The fire dimmed again, shrinking down to a trembling ember glow. Shadows stretched long across the clearing, bending in ways shadows shouldn't bend. And the whisper came, not from the trees, not from the wind, from the ground beneath their feet. "Come and get the last of the muffins." The kids froze, every single one of them. Phil stepped forward, placing himself between the group and the darkness. "Stay behind me," he said, voice low, steady, and absolutely terrified. A shape moved between the trees, slow, measured, gliding the same way he moved along Spout Lane. Johnny whimpered. Eddie grabbed his arm. Chloe's breath hitched. The whispers grew louder. Not words anymore, just a rising hiss that pressed against the canvas of the tents. The kids huddled closer to the fire, eyes darting toward the dark as the sound swelled sharper, closer, almost inside their ears. Then, crant. The tent door frame burst open with a snap that sent half the group scrambling to their feet, and there he stood, a silhouette in the torchlight, a tray in hand, steam drifting up from a pile of warm muffins. For a heartbeat, a long, stretched, impossible heartbeat. Every kid in the clearing thought the same thing. The Muffin Man. But then the figure stepped forward and the legend dissolved into something far more familiar. Ferg, quiet, gentle Ferg, the only man alive who could make a tray of co-op yellow sticker muffins look like an offering from the underworld. "All right," he said softly, "thought your lot might fancy a snack." The tension snapped like a twig under a boot. A few kids laughed nervously. Someone swore under their breath. Eddie nearly sat down in the fire. Ferg stepped fully into the clearing, the tray balanced effortlessly in one hand. Everyone knew he was gentle, but there was a toughness under it. The kind that came from years of sorting out scraps behind youth clubs and calming down kids twice his size. His glance alone could stop you mid-stride, and right now it cut through the panic like a blade through fog. "Honestly," he muttered, shaking his head, "you'd think you'd seen a ghost." Phil let out a breath he'd been holding far too long. The forest settled. The whispers faded. The shadows shrank back to where shadows belonged. But even as the kids crowded around the tray, laughing and shoving and arguing over who got the chocolate chip one, Phil kept glancing toward the trees because he knew better than any of them that the Muffin Man didn't always show himself. Sometimes he just watched, sometimes he just waited, and sometimes he let someone else deliver the warning.